Why are there no bears in Africa?
That's a great question.
You thinking what I'm thinking? Oh yeah.
On this episode, we're chasing down the answers to some unanswerable questions.
But the big question is, do creatures enjoy playing like we do?
That's another good question.
And we'll do anything to find out the answer.
In fact, we're dropping everything in our quest to answer some amazingly tricky queries about the animal world.
We're gonna wrestle with the big creature quandaries, like why do animals fight?
Why do animals live in groups?
Why are baby animals so cute?
And why do baby animals play?
It's all coming up on Kratts Creatures.
Totally unreal. Check out this question. How do creatures know when a storm is coming?
Electrical charges, barometric pressure, it's hard to say.
But look at this one. Why is the lion the only cat who lives in a group?
Well, their hunting style, for one thing.
What we've found is a kind of CreatureNet.
A computer bulletin board where kids from around the world are asking creature questions.
It's totally cool.
Here's another one. A kid in New York is asking, why aren't there any bears in Africa?
That's a great question. You know, there are bears all over the globe, but not in Africa. And I've always wondered, why not?
You have always wondered that. Come here. Get a load of this.
Hey, that's my first journal. Since when are you reading my journals?
Since I was 5. Check out this first page. Why are there no bears in Africa?
That was my first question about creatures. And you know, it still bugs me, just like it bugs that kid in New York.
You thinking what I'm thinking? Oh yeah.
We need a printout of those questions.
Righto. Okay, question number 1. Why do animals live in groups?
When you're a creature in the wilderness, you have to be on the constant lookout for danger. It's kind of like inline skating around town. When you're inlining, you have to look out for holes, obstacles, and turns in the road. You have to be listening for vehicles up ahead and from behind. Look out! That's one of the best reasons for creatures living together. Teamwork.
You got that right, guys. And one of the best examples of teamwork.
Check out impala. These antelopes live in large groups, chowing down on the green grasses of the open African savanna. But the thing is, these gentle grass eaters aren't alone out there. They live next door to toothy predators like the lion, the leopard, and this guy, the cheetah. I mean, what do you do when your neighbors keep dropping by to make themselves an impala sandwich? You defend yourself. And what's the impala's best defense? Teamwork. They all keep their eyes and ears open, always on the lookout for the approach of a hungry neighbor. Members of the herd will communicate to each other if danger's coming close. And then it's time to leap out of there, pronto. So you see, living in a group has many benefits. In this case, the benefit of avoiding hungry predators as much as possible.
Living with a group is like living with a bunch of pals. Pals who are always listening, watching, and sniffing for danger. The more eyes and ears on the lookout, the better. Look at it this way. If you're a wildebeest alone on the savannah,
You're vulnerable if a pride of lions comes by. They have no one to choose from but you.
Talk about vulnerable, I gotta interrupt here. Did anyone notice this, or was it just me? I mean, all this talk about protection, and what have we got? 2 brothers, 2 pairs of inline skates, 2 sets of knee and elbow pads, but no helmets!
Point taken, Al. I mean, some creatures like bighorn sheep can bang heads without injury. They have thick, tough skulls, unlike us humans.
So unless you protect your head when you're inlining, you'll be in more trouble than a wildebeest alone on the savannah.
So we know groups work for the hunted, but it also works for the hunters.
These animals work together using hunting strategies. That increases their odds of a takedown. After all, 2 predators are better than 1. Ice cream? Let's get 'em.
For group hunting specialists, check out African wild dogs.
They're really successful group hunting specialists. The success ratio of some packs is 85%.
That's way above solitary hunters like leopards.
And as far as antelope are concerned, once a pack of wild dogs has spotted them, it could mean the beginning of the end.
There he is.
Antelope can sprint faster than wild dogs.
Just like the ice cream guy can bike faster than we can skate.
But wild dogs have endurance and strategy.
A wild dog's quarry often runs in circles, just like the ice cream guy is doing.
So we're using the wild dog strategy and splitting up. As Chris continues the chase, I'm cutting across the curve, narrowing the gap, giving me the chance to.
Surprise! You got any rocket pops?
So we learned 2 things. Team hunting works great, but don't forget your helmet at home.
Hunting in a pack is great, but there's another reason to live in a group, and that's
Family! Some creatures have really tight families, like meerkats.
They teach each other
Play with each other.
and protect each other. They really know how to take care of each other.
And the more creatures nurturing the young ones, the better.
certainly true in the case of the meerkat. These guys live in groups of up to 30 members.
And the group not only helps mom raise her young,
They'll even put their own lives on the line to protect them.
when startled by predators, meerkats have been known to cover the young with their own bodies.
That's amazing.
And take wild dogs. They may seem fierce and unstoppable when it comes to hunting, and they are. But when you see them with their pups, you see a whole other side to them. Only one female in the pack has the pups, but she has way too many to care for by herself. So other pack members help raise them, which means that they're not only a great hunting team, they're also a great family team.
And talk about community living. Baboons live in troops of up to 200. That's a lot of baboons.
And like wild dogs and meerkats, they all pitch in to protect and care for the young. Baboon moms provide a lot of care for their babies, but they can often count on the help of a friendly male who will act as godfather, protecting her baby as if his own.
Of course, a baboon mom will protect her young too. But out here on the African savanna, you need all the help you can get.
And how about elephants? These savanna giants live in herds of up to 22, and an elephant mom can rely on a lot of help from other females. In fact, they'll even suckle or feed each other's young. And if a pride of lions try to attack a baby in the herd, they'll have to answer not just to mom, but to the whole herd. So now that we know why some animals live in groups, let's move on to the next question. Question number 2. Why do some creatures live alone? There must be tons of creatures that live alone. Like the tiger, the koala, the leopard tortoise, the tapir, the pterosaur, the sloth, the leopard, the Hercules beetle, the scorpion, the giant anteater, the wolverine, Tasmanian devil, the Arctic fox, and let's not forget the
Cougar. This guy is a perfect example of why creatures go solo. Just looking at him, you can tell that this cat is capable of defending himself. And being alone suits his hunting style. He uses stealth and the element of surprise. Plus, a solitary lifestyle means he only has one mouth to feed, a real advantage when food is scarce. And he's flexible, able to move around wherever and whenever he wants. In the creature world, flexibility is a big bonus for both predators and prey.
Why are baby animals so cute?
Scientists give a simple reason for why baby animals like this are so cute. It helps their survival and the survival of their species.
The theory is that baby animals bring out natural parenting instincts. They're so cute, parents can't help but want to protect and care for babies like these.
In fact, in the case of baboons, the babies are so cute that almost everyone in the troop wants to be with them.
Which means that mothers of baby baboons have to deal with a lot of interference.
Most baboons are really attracted to babies 5 months and younger when they're covered with that black fur.
Higher-ranking females will even go so far as to pluck a baby from his mother's arms.
Or even kidnap them.
And that's when a baby's godfather will come in. Hearing the baby's cries, the godfather will rush in and rescue it.
And if a male is hanging out with a mom and her baby, that's enough to keep other baboons away.
So all this seems to be proof that cuteness brings out strong maternal instincts.
In other words, yeah, babies are cute. Hey, check out this guy. Talk about a cute kid. That's me, of course.
You want to see cute?
This is cute. It's me. Don't worry, Martin. Some of us got it, and some of us don't.
Some believe we find baby creatures like this puppy so cute because of his big eyes, small snout, and big feet. Babies are so much rounder and softer, which is appealing to the human eye. There's no question that in the eyes of any human, these baby animals are adorable. And not just because of the way they look, with their soft fur and their bright eyes, but by the way they act. They seem so helpless and so curious about the world around them.
And check out these baby creatures. These guys are so vulnerable, and that's partly why their parents want to protect them. The fact is, a baby creature's vulnerability has everything to do with why we find them so adorable.
Maybe another reason we find these baby creatures so cute is that we're used to seeing them as fully grown adults. I mean, it's funny to see them while they're just starting out, as young critters who are helpless and who still have so much to learn.
It's so, well, cute to watch these babies learn and master all the skills they'll use as adult creatures.
One way baby creatures learn is through play.
Hey, wait a minute. That's the next question on the CreatureNet. Why do animals play?
Because playing is serious for creature survival.
Playing is all about building muscles and motor skills.
It's also about rehearsing and sharpening those skills they're gonna need as adults.
These cheetah cubs need to master hunting skills like stalking, running down the prey, and going in for the kill.
And play is a great way to do that.
There's no question that creatures use play to sharpen their skills. But the big question is, do creatures enjoy playing like we do?
Why not? So many people think playing is just for humans. But look at dolphins playing, or monkeys, or foxes. How about a dog catching a frisbee? He has fun, doesn't he?
She's ready.
Otters are incredibly clever, playful creatures.
So if you want to know if creatures enjoy playing, just check out this otter.
See, having fun isn't just for humans.
And playing is more than just fun. Scientists have discovered that playing not only stimulates the brain, it actually helps it to grow. That's why creatures play most when they're young.
So if play helps your brain to grow, you can look at it this way. If your brain is a plant, play is the water that feeds it.
And then there's the flip side. Why do animals fight?
Well, one of the big surprises about the creature world is that a real fight is very rare.
In fact, creatures have developed a lot of strategies to avoid a fight.
One of the best strategies is setting up territory. Territory keeps creatures out of each other's hair, feathers, and scales. It gives competing creatures a simple message. That's your turf. This is my turf. So stay put. You gotta be kidding me.
Setting up a territory is a great way for creatures to avoid a scrap.
But why do animals go to so much effort just to avoid a real fight?
Because real fights mean real injuries.
And real injuries mean that creatures can't do what they need to do to survive. Run, dive, hop, soar.
So avoiding a fight is actually critical to creature survival.
That's why creatures do more than setting up territories. They use strategies like threat displays, half fighting, and ritualized fighting to avoid a real scrap.
Okay, so to demonstrate threat displays, half fighting, and ritualized fighting, Chris and I are stepping into the ring.
In this corner, we have the tremendous, the titanic, the totally terrifying Tower of Terror, the Tasmanian tiger. And in this corner, straight from the sun-scorched Africa, we have the Sultan of Swift, the screaming scourge of the savannah, the stinging scorpion. You know, before we get carried away, we have to remember that no creature really likes to fight. So even when creatures look like they're ready to rumble, they'll try all sorts of things to avoid fighting. The first thing creatures do to avoid a fight is to give a threat display. That's because a creature's weapons take a lot of energy to use. It's much better to display them as a way of saying,
I got claws, I got teeth, I got the moves. You sure you want to rumble with me? Are you really sure?
Of course, different creatures give different displays, but the thing is, someone usually backs down. Usually. If the conflict is too great and nobody backs down, things might escalate into half fighting. Half fighting is like a dress rehearsal. It doesn't really hurt and it's really just a warning. A way of saying, I could really hurt you, but I won't. Not unless I have to. But sometimes, even with all the safety valves, a fight does happen. In other words, it's taking care of business time, Rumble City. Or so it seems. Actually, these aren't real fights. These pseudo-scraps are what's called ritualized fighting. That means what the animals are doing is testing the other guy's strength, which is totally different from what we saw before with threat displays and half fighting. I mean, that was all about warning the other guy that you're strong. Ritualized fighting is all about proving you're strong. This will go on for a while until the weaker animal backs down and gives up. That means the fight is over. Guys, the ritualized fight is over, remember? Guys, what are you doing? Well, one thing's for sure. The guys definitely aren't fighting. They're just horsing around. Nobody's getting hurt, and you know, that actually makes a lot of sense because in the creature world, a fight like this isn't as bad as it could be. I mean, when bighorn sheep butt heads, they're really just testing each other's strength. If they really wanted to fight each other, they'd use their horns, but they don't. And what's the worst that can happen after a little headbutting? A headache. Okay, now the guys are getting serious. They're trying the bighorn headbutt. Bighorn sheep fight over breeding rights. First, they size the other guy up, circling, getting ready. Then they rear up, getting ready to move in. Then they charge, and whammo! You guys are so... Hey, wait! A kid from Brazil is asking the bear question. We have spectacled bears in South America. Why aren't they in Africa?
Why aren't there bears in Africa? I mean, Africa's a continent that's positively jam-packed with creatures like hippos, rhinos, leopards, cheetahs, zebras, giraffes, elephants, wild dogs, ostrich, lions, wildebeest, and meerkats. And check out the terrain. A lot of this looks like potential bear habitat. So why are there no bears in Africa? Wait a minute.
I think I figured it out. When you think of bears, you think of cold, mountains, forests. So that's why they're not in Africa. It's too hot.
I gotta check the computer on this one.
It says here that the most species of bears can be found in one of the hottest places on Earth, India. So I guess some bears don't mind the heat.
You got that right. The sun bear lives in Southeast Asia, where the heat can be blistering.
Different story for the polar bear. He lives in the Arctic, where it's anything but hot.
But that's the thing. All sorts of bear species are living in all sorts of climates, from cold to temperate to hot.
If we want to find out the answer to this question, we're going to have to look at something other than climate.
Because the answer to our question could be found in the ancestor to a creature we all know very well. You see, over 25 million years ago, there existed a creature from which both bears and dogs descended. The bear dog. And guess what he looked like? Some of them looked like short-legged bears with flat feet and a dog-like face. These bear dogs lived all over North America, Africa, and parts of Europe and Asia. But over time, they evolved into, what else? Bears and dogs.
And these are their descendants. There's the dog family, or order Canidae. We're talking dingoes,
The domestic dog, wolves, and foxes.
Then there are members of the Procyonidae family, like raccoons, kinkajous, coatis, and red pandas. Both these families evolved from the early bear dogs.
That must have happened in North America and Europe. But in Africa, what if bear dogs evolved into only dogs and not bears?
Maybe. Or maybe not. That's a great theory, Martin, but I have a theory of my own. My theory takes us back in time. Here's how I figure. Cave bears probably came on the scene about 50,000 years ago. They were found all over Europe, and there's no doubt that our ancestors had run-ins with them. The funny thing is that the cave bear was an herbivore, so he posed no threat to humans. But he was big, so when the caveman heard him coming,
They ran, or they tried to kill the cave bear. Wonder if that's how they went extinct.
Well, maybe. Sure, the caveman hunted them, but probably not into extinction. What made them extinct was something else. The Ice Age.
humans reacted to the Ice Age by moving to, where else, warmer places. So did many mammals.
But some scientists think cave bears didn't. They stuck around, moved into caves, and tried to make a life there. But the strain of being stuck in the iced-over north took its toll, and slowly the species died out.
But his cousins in other parts of the world made it through, and they flourished in South America, North America, Asia, even as far east as Japan.
So why didn't the bear make it to Africa? Hey, I think I just found a missing piece to the puzzle. What?
What'd you find?
In Southwest Africa, scientists have just discovered the fossils of a bear. So there were bears in Africa. Okay, hold on. It says here that the fossils are 5 million years old.
Which is impossible. Okay, nothing's impossible in the creature world. So at some point there were bears in Africa. But where did they come from? Asia? And where did they go?
Martin's got a theory on that one.
It's called super omnivoric competition. And it goes like this. Okay, if there were bears in Africa, there's no way they could have made it. There's just too much competition. You see, bears are omnivores, which means they eat meat, fruit, nuts, and vegetation, right? But in Africa, a bear would have to deal with major competition for meat from the super predators. We're talking lions, wild dogs, leopards, hyenas, and cheetahs. All of these predators are on top of the game in Africa. For the bear, they could make for unbeatable competitors. I mean, competition amongst the super predators is hard enough. I just don't think a bear could cut against these guys. And then for vegetation, the bear would have to compete with the super herbivores. Giraffes, wildebeest, rhinos, zebra, hippos, and elephants. Again, we're talking serious competition. So to sum it up, between competition for meat and vegetation, I don't think a generalist like the bear would stand a chance.
So you think that explains the bear fossils in Africa? That's a great theory.
Yeah, but theories are one thing.
Now we've got to prove it.
Okay, we've got our food, our tent.
Do you have the map?
Yep. How about archaeological tools?
Oh yeah, I've got the brushes, the pick, and the frisbee.
All right.
We're heading back
Back where?
To Africa. Where else?
to Southwest Africa to be exact.
We have some serious fossil digging to do.
Today we tried to answer some tough questions. It was hard, but man, did we find some cool answers. Stuff few people probably ever thought of before. Something we did learn, though, is that one of the strangest creatures, humans, will spare no effort in their quest to answer the unanswerable.
You know, we spent a lot of time in Africa checking out creatures. We've had some cool adventures down here.
So we know our way around this continent pretty well.
So we're confident that we're gonna find the site of those bear fossils.
We'll find it all right. We just gotta keep looking.